All right, so in this one, we're going to refactor our code a little bit. The first thing I want to do is I want to change job match to position match. And the foreign key is still going to be to job, but it's going to be the job as in the position from the job. And then I'm going to return, instead of that, I'll do job.text. So position is that. Cool, so we've got that. And then I want to add an updated field here, which I'll explain in just a moment. But models.datetime field. And we'll do auto now equals to true, and auto now add equals to false. All right, so now that we have this, let's go into our admin and change the position watch. So the import for the position from job match to position match, and down all the way to the others. Okay, so that's all we have it. And then here we will do python manage.py, make migrations. Oh, got a little spelling error on the date time field here, as indicated with this. All right, let's try that again. Save it. Make migrations. Python manage.py. Migrate. Notice we've deleted the model job match when we created this new model, or we changed it. So we do want to delete the old ones. Say yes. All right, so Python manage.py, run server. All right, so the reason I'm calling it position match is it makes it a little bit clearer as to what we're going to be seeing here, and it's mainly for the position. Granted, it is linked to a job text, but the job text is also a position itself, but I'm just not going to change everything. All right, so now that we've got this position match, it's better representative of the home page, right? So if we refresh in here, we do have these suggested positions. And the reason I put updated is because I want to do the same thing that I did here on the matches to position match. But instead of just for position, it's going to be for everything that's related to these job matches. So position match, employer match, and location match. So we'll do this check update call in here. And what I want to do now is I'm going to make objects equals to position match manager. And let's create this position match manager. So class position match manager is models.manager. And this is where I actually want to update all of my positions. And that's going to be going off of the user itself and also the user matches itself. So when we want to do this, we're going to have to go through the different matches for any particular user. In this case, we are going to do it off of the user that already has a position match. Right, so first off, I'll say, let's say update all matches, or update top suggestions. Let's call it update top suggestions. And it's going to take in self. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the query set of matches. So matches equals to, and this is going to be match.objects.get matches. So get matches function. So if we go back up here, it's this one right here. And the user is, of course, self.user. So these are now all of those matches that we're getting. So let's go back into our view and see how we handled this in there. So we did it just right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this entire thing here, including the list elements here. And we'll paste this in. So now we're going to go through all of these matches. So this is getting all the matches. I only want 20 of the matches, so up to 20. And that's how I'm actually going to be updating these suggestions, is based off of this. But I also might want to have some integer in here, so int. So I'll say match int. And that's actually what's going to allow me to update how many I want. Now, first of all, do we actually need to append these to any lists? No, we don't. We just need to go through all the items themselves and then update and save each object also itself. So position match and so on. So in here, I'm just going to say self.objects.getACreate. And I no longer have the append stuff, so let's get rid of append, and append. All right, so this is actually creating all of those jobs for us, everything that we needed below. And then finally, after that's ran, I'll just print matched finished. Okay, so since we've got this, then instead of self.doMatch, I'll just do positionMatch.objects.update top suggestions. And notice I actually don't have a user here, so let's change this back to being user and match int. And this should be lowercase. Match int. So self.user should be user. And all the request.user should also be user. Okay. And then update top suggestions of self.user. And the number, we'll say 20. Okay, so this will actually go through and update each one of these. And when we do this, we actually want to run this check update for our home page. And we'll do this in just a second, but first I want to make sure that everything's running correctly. So actually, let's just test it. Let's go ahead and go into our views. And now, instead of doing get or create, I'm just going to come in here and do position.objects.update top suggestions, and it's going to be the user, so request.user, and the integer, so 20. And then we'll just print out that result. That's not going to, actually that won't print out anything, but we will at least print out the position matches .objects.filter user equals to request.user, and we'll say matches equals to that. Alright, so we go back in here, and we got a name error of positions not defined. That's why. Okay, so let's go back into our matches, and this part right here doesn't need to happen, so let's go ahead and cut this, paste in here, because the location and all that stuff is not relevant anymore. The lists. Okay. And let's run it again. Okay, so it looks like nothing changed, but let's go ahead and just double check to make sure by first off going into our view for our home page, and I'm going to comment out all the match iteration stuff. Matches new, and we'll print out matches new. And then let's go into the admin, into matches, position matches. We'll delete all these. Yes, let's delete them. Go to the home page, refresh. It looks like, of course, these aren't showing anything because they're not coming off of models. So if we go into admin position matches again, I'm still getting 0. And position matches 2 is also 0. So let's actually see why. We'll jump into our matches, and this first one, I'm just going to take it out of this try block. Go back into our home page, and we've got position match manager has nothing called objects. Self.getterCreate, not objects, but self.getterCreate. Okay. So now it looks like we have some matches in there that are coming through. So let's change that back. And now we have those same position objects, which is good. So in our home page, instead of actually using our matches like this, we'll just say positions equal to this to 6. And now our positions are coming through again, and we can do this exact same thing for locations. So locations, location match, and then employer match. Okay, we refresh in here. Notice it says J Mitchell 3. That's because of our Unicode. Now our matches, we'll well, we don't want to get rid of those because we have them all set up. All right, so we've got this. So let's go ahead and change our Unicode, or we don't have to change our Unicode. We can just go into the home and say position dot, this is the location dot name, and position dot employer dot name. And now it's showing all of that stuff. Cool. So this also allows us to have a lot more flexibility when it comes to using these different matches, right? So we can update these top match percentage. And you're wondering is whether or not we should check these updates. So this is also where I'm going to put this integer in here. So match int, and I'm put that right there. So this check update stuff is really going to be running off of our instances. So back into our views, instead of just calling it right off the bat, we're going to say if positions dot count is greater than 0, then we'll do positions dot 0, so the first instance, and we'll do check update, and we'll add 20. So 20 matches total. And match decimal is not in there, so let's go back in and take a look at why that's saying that. Match decimal right here. We don't need that. Just need to make sure that it's updated is somewhat recent. And we refresh, and it'd say already updated because this is right here. Of course, if I change this into seconds, then it's going to update it. I'm going to change it into seconds and also print updated matches or updated suggestions. And we refresh, updated suggestions, and then after another 12 seconds, of course, it's going to update suggestions again. Perfect. So that's what we want to see. I'm going to get rid of that as well as already updated. It's not necessary. And then in the position match stuff, I'm going to get rid of any print statements that I have. So print, and finally print. We don't need those. All right, so what this allows me to do is actually see the different suggested positions, which is good. But one thing that I do want to note is, well, I might have suggested positions, but what if I don't update them like I did in this views? Meaning, what if I don't have any positions already? So what that means is when I do the matches, so when I do match here, actually I'll put it in the check update for matches. I'm also going to do position match.objects.update top suggestions. In this case, I'm going to put the user of being, of course, self.user_a, and I'll put it up to 6. And then I'll also do position match self.user_b as well as 6. So that's going to definitely, every time we do this check update, it's going to then update their position matches as well, if it's necessary, which is nice. It's going to do a get or create. But now we have all of these different positions that are suggested, as well as employers, as well as locations, like where they might want to live, based on how they match with these different users. All right, so if you have any questions on this, let us know. Otherwise, in the next one, we're going to actually take a look and show these positions and display them on their actual homepage. All right, so we will see you in the next one.